I have loved in the wrong directions, poured myself into the almost and the close, gave my best to ones who couldn't hold it, and walked away with less than when I chose to open up, to try again, to trust again. After every door that closed in my face, I kept on showing up to love with everything, and kept on finding emptiness in place of what I thought I was deserving, of what I thought love was supposed to feel, until I learned that all those wrong directions were just the road that led me to the real. Every heartbreak was a lesson written carefully in the language of the things I didn't know. Every wrong turn had a purpose I couldn't see yet. Every letting go was teaching me to grow into the person who could finally hold what I was walking toward. Everything that came before was building me for you. Every scar and every closed door, every start that never made it through. I had to love the wrong ones, had to lose what wasn't mine, had to walk through all the darkness to deserve this kind of light. Everything that came before made me ready, made me worthy, made me yours. And you were worth every single thing that came before. There were nights I made the bargain with whatever listens in the dark. Said I don't need perfect, just send me someone who knows how to be careful with a heart. Someone patient, someone present, someone whose love doesn't come with a condition, someone who shows up when the showing up is costly, someone worth the long and hopeful wait. And then one ordinary, unremarkable Tuesday, you appeared without the fanfare or the sign, and every prayer I'd ever sent into the quiet came back answered in the form of you and mine. I used to wonder if the waiting had a purpose, if the empty years were leading anywhere at all. Now I understand that I was being prepared for something specific, something worth the long haul. Everything that came before was building me for you. Every scar and every closed door, every start that never made it through. I had to love the wrong ones, had to lose what wasn't mine, had to walk through all the darkness to deserve this kind of light. Everything that came before made me ready, made me worthy, made me yours. And you were worth every single thing that came before. She's coming, they're coming. The one that makes the waiting make complete sense. is coming. Hold on, hold on. Everything that came before was worth it. You are worth it. You were worth every single thing that came before. Worth it. All of it. Worth it. You were worth the wait. All of it. Worth it. People kept on telling me to hurry, kept on asking when and who and why not yet. Like love was just a box on somebody's checklist, like loneliness was something to regret. But I had learned the cost of rushing, had the receipts from all the times I chose too quickly, too desperately, too hungrily, before I understood how real love goes. So I slowed the search into a stillness, let the wanting soften into trust, told myself that what was meant for me would find me without all the desperate fuss. In the waiting I found something unexpected, found a version of myself I hadn't met, the one who didn't need the love to feel complete, but wanted it, just wanted it, not yet. Not desperate, just open, just quietly open. It was the longest beautiful wait, but God, it led to you. Every patient empty evening, every sunrise starting new. Without the one I'd hoped for, was just time becoming ready for a love like this to land. It was the longest beautiful wait, and now I understand that everything worth having takes the time that it requires. And you were worth every year of quiet fires. I filled the waiting up with living, didn't put my life on hold for love. I traveled and I grew and I became the person I'd been dreaming of. I made the friendships and the memories, did the work of knowing who I am, built the life that I was proud to bring to someone who could understand its value, its specificity, its truth. And when you walked in, I was finally ready. Not perfect, never perfect, but prepared to give you everything. Because waiting isn't just the absence of arrival, waiting is the preparation for the real. And I used every single day of my becoming to be someone worthy of what you make me feel. It was the longest beautiful wait, but God, it led to you. Every patient empty evening, every sunrise starting new. Without the one I'd hoped for, was just time becoming ready that everything worth having takes the time that it requires. And you were worth every year of quiet fires. Beautiful, I call it beautiful because I have the gift of hindsight now. I know in the waiting there were evenings when beautiful was not the word, not now. There were nights that tested everything, every belief I held in love and time. Nights I nearly gave the waiting up, nearly settled, nearly crossed the line into something comfortable and less, into something good enough and fine. And I am so profoundly glad I didn't. I am so grateful for the stubborn heart of mine that held out, that belief that said not yet, not this one, not this almost. Wait, just wait, something real is coming. And it came, you came, and you were everything the waiting promised. It was the longest beautiful way, and I would wait it all again. Every lonely night and almost every ending and begin. I would walk it all again, every year of it, every day, knowing at the end of all that walking, you were standing there. You were worth the wait, you were worth the wait. You were worth every single beautiful day. Beautiful, the wait was beautiful because it ended with you. Worth it every day. Worth it, you. There was one who had the laughter, but was gone before the morning came. There was one who had the promise, but could never quite commit to staying. There was one who loved me fiercely, in the way that burns too bright and fast, and one who loved me gently, but not deeply, and it couldn't last. I have loved in all the flavors of the incomplete and almost there, and I collected all the lessons that each one of them had left me there. I don't regret a single, almost every one of them refined me, chiseled something closer to the shape of who I needed to become, to recognize you when you finally came. All the almost loves were just the preface to you. All the almost loves were teaching me what's true. Everyone who didn't stay, every hand that slipped away was making room, was clearing space for the love that finally had a face worth staying for. All the almost loves led me to the one that isn't almost you. You are not almost, you are finally done. I used to mourn the ones who left me, used to trace the outline of each loss, wondering what I did or didn't do enough of, counting up the love and what it cost. But I have learned to read the leaving as a redirection and not a flaw. Everyone who couldn't stay was just the universe suggesting for the specific person, the particular particular love that all the leaving was creating space to be. And the specific person, the particular love was always, always going to be. How do I thank the ones who left for leaving at exactly the right time? How do I honor all the almost for knowing they were never meant to be mine? All the almost loves are just the preface to you. All the almost loves were teaching me what's true. Everyone who didn't stay, every hand that slipped away was making news, clearing space for the love that finally had a face worth staying for. All the almost loves led me to the one that isn't almost you. I think about them sometimes, the almost and the nearlies. Hope they found their own version of what I found in you. Hope they landed somewhere that felt like the arriving. Hope the love that wasn't us was someone else is true. Because love isn't diminished by the ones that didn't land. It's just redirected by a more specific hand. And the hand that held me finally after all the almost hands is the one that fits so perfectly. It makes me understand that everything before you was the universe being careful, taking its time, making sure that when the real one came, I would know, I would just know. And I knew the moment I found you, I knew all the almost loves. I thank them now. All the almost loves, they showed me how to recognize the real thing. All the almost, when it finally arrived. All the almost loves made me grateful for the love that kept me, that chose me, that stayed. You are not almost, you are everything. The almost was preparing me for almost, 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 almost and you. And nothing has been almost since you were worth every almost, worth the wait. Wait. I used to take what was available and dress it up and call it what I need. I used to make excuses for the almost, for the kind of love that came with strings and fees. I loved the ones who kept me at arm's distance, chased the ones who ran the moment I got close, stayed too long in rooms that didn't want me, and called it love because I wanted it the most. Then something in me quietly decided, something underneath the pattern said enough, said you deserve the love you keep on giving, said stop practicing the art of not enough. And I put down the almost, and I walked away from close, and I sat inside the empty, and I made a home of hope. And I said I will wait for the real, for the actual, for the worth it, for the feels like finally free. I stopped settling the day I believed that something real was possible for me. Stopped accepting almost love, stopped calling crumbs a feast, started holding out for something that held back just as strong. I stopped settling, and in the space the settling left, you walked in, right where the settling used to be. You walked in and proved that I was right to believe. after stopping is the hardest. The empty space where settling used to live feels enormous in the early days of choosing better for yourself, of learning how to give your standards the same loyalty you gave to every person who fell short. But the empty was the clearing, the empty was the chord, where something real could finally have enough room to arrive. And you arrived into the clearing, into the space I made by finally choosing my own life. You are what I got when I stopped taking less. You are what was waiting past the almost and the yes. But you are the answer to the question of what happens when you finally believe you're worth the best. I stopped settling the day I believed that something real was possible for me. Stopped accepting almost love, stopped calling crumbs a feast, started holding out for something that held back just as strong. I stopped settling, and in the space the settling left, you walked in, right where the settling used to be. You walked in and proved that I was right to believe. To anyone still in the almost, still making peace with less than what you need, still telling yourself that this is close enough, still swallowing the disappointment quietly, I want to tell you what I learned from the other side of settling. The love that you deserve is not a fantasy. It's not too much to ask. It's not a foolish thing to hold out for. It exists. It is waiting past the last almost, past the final good enough. It is real and it is coming, and it looks like someone who makes settling unthinkable the way you make settling unthinkable. To me, I stopped settling, and I found you. I stopped accepting less, and less became everything in the form of you. You are the proof that what I believed was possible was not just possible, was already real, was already on its way, was already worth the wait, worth the wait, worth the belief, worth the empty, worth the grief of the almost and the settling. All of it worth it. You were worth it. I used to question every single delay, every prayer that seemed to go unheard, every year that passed without the love I asked for, every silence where I waited for a word. I counted up the nights and called it absence, counted up the seasons and called it no. But I was reading the silence all wrong, mistaken taking preparation for letting go. The answer wasn't absent, the answer was in process, being carefully and lovingly arranged. And all the time I thought I was forgotten, I was simply in the waiting room of grace. And grace was taking longer than I wanted, because what grace was building was so rare. The kind of love that takes more time to fashion, the kind that has to be created with more care than average, more time than most, because what was coming was worth the most. God was taking His time with you, crafting every single part, the way you hold a broken thing, the gentleness of heart, the patience and the laughter, the depth behind your eyes. God was taking His time with you, and I misread it as goodbye, but it was just a careful, loving, holy making of the one who was worth waiting for, the one worth all my trust. God was taking His time with you, and thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God He did. You arrived with such a softness, such a specific kind of goodness that I knew that you had been intentional, that something loving had been careful making you. The way you listen, really listen, like the words I say are worth the holding on to. The way you show up in the ordinary with an extra kind of grace that just comes through. I see the craftsmanship in you, the detail and the care. I see the years of thoughtful making in the way you choose to love me. Like you're aware of how much it means, of how long I waited, of how close I came to giving up. And you love me like you know what the waiting costs, like you understand the value of a heart that loved and lost and kept on keeping faith in something worth the having. You love me like you know, and maybe on some level you do. God was taking His time with you, crafting every single part, the way you hold a broken thing, the gentleness of heart, the patience and the laughter, the depth behind your eyes. God was taking His time with you, and I misread it as goodbye, but it was just the careful, loving, holy making of the one who was worth waiting for, the one with all my trust. God was taking His time with you, and thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God He did. If I could go back to every night I pray for someone, anyone to come, I would change the prayer. I would say, take your time, don't send me anyone until you send me the one, the specific, the considered, the one worth the architecture of waiting, the one worth the long and faithful keeping of belief in love. When love felt absent, take your time, because what you were building was worth every single day you took. God was taking his time with you, and every day he took was one more day of making something worth a second look, worth a lifetime of looking, worth every prayer I pray. God was taking his time with you, and I am so grateful for every single day he took to make you exactly who you are, exactly mine, exactly worth the wait. Thank you for the waiting, thank you for the time, thank you for the making of this love of mine. You were worth every day he took